it's time for my final episode review of Kuroko no Basu Season 2 because this past Saturday, the final episode of the season aired. I'm going to try not to think about it too much. Like, I'm just going to do this like I reviewed every other episode. Not every episode, but all the other episodes I reviewed. I'm just going to do it like that and pretend it's not the last episode. Because if I think about it being the last episode, blah, blah, blah. Before I go any further, I would like to say thank you to all of you who watched my Kuroko no Basu reviews these past 2 seasons. I really, really appreciate all of your support, and just having people to talk Kuroko with me always makes my day. It always makes me so happy, and there were so many of you, and I'm so happy that we just went on this basketball journey of feels and bromances and fist bumps together. It made it a lot easier that we were just, comrades in this. Not only was this the final episode of the season, it was also the final episode of the Yosun versus Saren match. So you may or may not have noticed that I did not do any episode reviews for the Yosun versus Saren match. I almost want to say rematch, but that's in the style rematch. It's the first time they met each other on the court. But that's not because I didn't love this match. I thought it was outstanding and a fantastic match. It was just because I didn't have time to do them, which made me a little bit sad. So I wanted to touch on a few things that I had mixed feelings for. One of them was something that happened in this episode, and one was something that happened in the entire overarching plot, overarching match. The arc is what happened. That's what I'm trying to say. This match was super quickly paced because they had to fit in 4 to 5 chapters an episode, which is ridiculous. Every other episode is 3 chapters. So just think about how much they had to compress into these last few episodes because they were running out of time. This was a long match and they didn't have that many episodes. They may not have just paced it that well, but also this should have been 26 episodes and they cut an episode randomly for some reason. They were able to get all of the core points into the match, which is the important thing. But since it was so fast paced, they did have to lose a few things. And I think with there's like drool coming out between my teeth. I don't know what's happening. What is... Welcome to my channel. If this is the first video you're watching, I'm the most attractive person you'll ever see. So because they had to shove so much so quickly into this last few episodes, I think that the most important thing that was lost was Himuro. I think his character definitely got the short end of the stick because the focus about why he is so set on no longer being Kagami's brother, the importance of that wasn't emphasized nearly as much as it was in the manga. An example for something that was cut is in chapter 165 of the manga. There is a flashback scene with Himuro and Alex. It's not even a full page. It's immediately after Kagami goes into the zone, and it shows Himuro frustrated to the point of tears because Kagami is so naturally gifted at basketball and Himuro isn't. Even though Himuro is the one who introduced Kagami, even though Himuru's trained so hard, he just can't become as good as Kagami no matter how hard he tries. Even though I loved him in the manga, it definitely felt like there was something lacking about his story to really hit with viewers, which is really sad because he is a great character and his and Kagami's story is really good. It's really good, so it bummed me out a little bit. Another part of the match that I had mixed feelings on was Murray Sakabara going into the zone. Now hold on, don't bite my tongue off yet. Really, don't ever do that. I love Murray Sakabara. At first, he appears to be a Titan dick face, when in reality he's just a 7-foot childish goober with a sweet tooth, and his characterization is wonderful. What I did like about him going into the zone was the character development. The idea that Murray Sakabara has put on such a front that even his teammates believe that he hates basketball. But by going up against Saren, he could no longer deny that he didn't love the sport sport and did not want to lose at it. It's Kuroko's basketball! He's making the generation of miracles of basketball again! But the thing that made me go buh about it was that having him go into the zone for that super short, like 19 seconds, just made it feel unnecessary to me because he didn't have time to do anything. It's also the idea that the zone is this super awesome basketball power that we didn't even know existed half a season ago, but now, oh look, everybody's going into the zone. Using it too much kind of makes it lose its magic a little bit. Having Kagami go into the zone this match was interesting to me because it showed the negative sides of going into the zone, how using it a second time is much more difficult than using it the first time. So I just wish we had seen Murasaki go into the zone earlier in the match, or that it had just been saved for a later match entirely. I just would have loved to see him do more with it. That's all I'm saying. But putting these silly little critiques off to the side, let's move on to the happy basketball feels and goosebumps, because holy aioli was this episode oozing with them. First and foremost, do not lie to me. I know that every single one of you who watched teared up just as much as I did at the ecstatic looks on every single Seiren player's faces when Kyoshi came back. It was just so heartwarming, and it reinforced to us just how strong-willed and team-driven Kyoshi is. He was so defeated when he left the court, but he still came back to it to fight alongside the team that he cares so much about. Golly gee, he is one of my favorite characters. I adore him. I am all on the Teppei train. And I love how much influence he has on the court and how much confidence he brings to his teammates. Like that Kagami and Kyoshi block of Murasaki was so shonen, but so magical and great. Speaking of magical, how freaking epic was Kagami's Meteor Jam. It was one of the bestest and greatest baskets in the entire series. The build-up with the music and the animation and the replays. I need a breath after that one. Honestly, most of the basketball happening looked outstanding. All of the passing and plays were just so quick and perfect, and I think that really helped keep the tension of the entire episode up. Especially the plays between my homies Kagami and Kuroko. Every single time I was left going, ooh, so cool! Animation, let's be honest, animation this entire season has just been so perfect, so good. Which, Production IG, let's just give Production IG all of the round of applause and all of the thanks from my little bottom of my fangirl heart, because it's always a treat to have your favorite manga animated, and the fact that it has been animated so beautifully and fluidly and looking so fantastic. If I could go to Japan and then go to Production IG Studios, I would just go and I would say thanks. What am I saying? A sad feels moment was when Murmur was just crying his adorable little heart out, because he really does love basketball, you guys, and he's not gonna quit. I will say that I am completely unsurprised that his tears are the biggest tears we've seen on a character yet. I guess what they say is true. The taller they are, the bigger they tear. Science. Another thing I loved about this match was the whole idea of the two teams swapping play styles. I thought it was a really cool touch, and that everything was explained in a way where it made perfect sense. I thought it was really neat and really well executed. As for the ending, I know that there are a lot of people who didn't like it because they thought that having Kuroko jump up and block Murasaki shot was a cop-out, which I completely understand. It didn't, however, bother me that much, because the way I think about it is Murmur has not had to jump consistently in a game in how many games? How many months? How many years even? And like they stated in the show, Kyoshi and Kagami made him jump numerous times in a very short amount of time. So it makes sense why his legs gave out. Remember how, back before he trained and learned how to use his jumping strength, Kagami's legs gave out too. Not just in one game, but two separate games. Someone like Murasaki, who trains but doesn't typically have to put any effort into his plays, is not immune to to the effects of jumping repeatedly. And when his knees are slightly bent like they were, then the distance Kuroko had to jump to block the shot wasn't quite as ridiculous as it may have seemed. Maybe, I could be completely wrong and it totally was a cop-out. I don't know much about basketball besides feels. Honestly, in terms of an episode, it was A+++++ repeating because it was so good. But I thought about it a little bit more, and I thought that for a finale, it felt a little too open-ended, like it felt incomplete, almost like it was just simply an end of a regular episode. Now, obviously, in the long run, I am A-okay with this because it means that we're like 99.875325432 repeating, gonna be getting a season 3 of Kuroko no Basu. And anytime I even think about the fact that we might be getting a season 3 of Kuroko no Basu, I'm so happy. But if you're watching the episode on Crunchyroll, where we don't get those adorable little end cards, then the episode literally ends on Kuroko's smiling face in what feels like should be a transition into a new scene. Because in the manga, it transitions into a new scene. No spoilers, but it felt like that because that is literally what happens. Saying that though, I'm pretty sure that they did pick the best stopping place that they possibly could have, considering what happens immediately after if they had kept going with that scene. Am I being ambiguous enough for you anime-only viewers? I'm trying not to spoil it for you. They definitely did tease some stuff though, / give the manga readers a little winksy, with the Akashi/Midorima eye sex across the room, aka stare down, and the dude with the dreadlocks strutting his stuff down the hallway. Boop, boop, boop. By the way, because I've had a lot of people on Twitter and Tumblr ask me this, if you're wanting to pick up the manga where season 2 ends, then chapter 169 is the chapter you are looking for. 69. On a completely shallow yet incredibly important note, Kisei doing his whole model slicking hair back thing was just fabulous and wonderful and necessary on so many levels. So much hype for the possible Kaijo versus Saren rematch because I need more Kisei and Kasumatsu playing in my life. We didn't even get to see them play in a game this season other than the first opening where they looked good in their play style. Bringing this episode review to a close before I just start crying all over myself, Kuroko no Basu Season 2 was a polished, intense, and freaking awesome anime experience, where we saw many characters and many teams grow and develop, both in their relationships with one another and in their skills on the court. Not only did it give us one of the best anime openings in recent years, it also introduced us to the first villain of the series, a Mr. Dickface Hanamiya, which Kuroko's pissed off face is still one of my favorite moments of the season. It made us fall in love with Kyoshi, even more in love with the rest of Team Saren, and it induced tears with a beautiful and silly fist bump. I don't see many other series doing that. Okay guys, there's it for my final episode review of Kuroko no Basu Season 2. I'm gonna really miss doing these. I'm just gonna miss everything about the series in general. I don't really feel I need to be saying this, but I just want to reiterate how much I loved this series, and especially this season. I thought it was a fantastic, incredibly well done continuation of the first season, and I am so stoked and excited for whenever they announce season 3. They better be announcing season 3 very soon, because I bit my tongue. Let me know in the comments down below what your favorite Kuroko no Basu Season 2 moments were. I would love to hear them and discuss them. I'm gonna have to make a separate video about what all my favorite Season 2 moments were, because I realized I just now realized that I didn't do that before, and now I'm kind of sad. If you have not seen any of Kuroko no Basu, which I don't know why you're watching the end of the video if you haven't seen any of it, because spoilers, there's a link in the description down below for you to go and get a free Crunchyroll Premium membership, which means you can watch the episodes in 1080p without ads, and it's pretty amazing. If you would like any more of this gal's weirdness, all of my links to my social media are in the description down below. The ones I use most often are definitely Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram. I've been using Hummingbird a lot more often too, so that's also there, but I also have a My Anime List, Crunchyroll profile, and Facebook, so go check out all of that stuff. I hope you're having a wonderful, fantastic Kuroko no Basu memory-filled day, and I will talk to you later.